This is Shrek's family tree, and it's expanded quite a bit since Shrek originally married Fiona. Shrek's met some new friends, he's had a few children, he's gotten to know some of his in-laws, and today I'm going to go through who everyone is, how everyone's related, and answer what this all means for the future of Far, Far Away. After 20 years of Shrek, we're finally bringing it all together. And to begin, I'm actually going to start with Fiona. You see, Fiona was the only child of King Harold and Queen Lillian, making her the princess of Far, Far Away. You see, while Harold was born a frog, Lillian inherited Far, Far Away from her family as the eldest child of the previous rulers of Far, Far Away. She was a part of the prestigious Pendragon family. But even though the title of queen was passed on to Lillian, the true authority over the kingdom was given to Harold as king. It seems a royal daughter can become queen and inherit the position of ruler for her family, but only a king is permitted to rule Far, Far Away.
This kingdom needs a new king.
Thus, whoever Fiona chose to marry was extremely important. Her husband would be able to decide the future of her family's kingdom. The question on everyone's mind was, would Fiona's husband help the people of Far, Far Away thrive and prosper, or would the new king mold the world in his own image? These were some huge issues that concerned Harold and Lillian, but no one could have predicted that Fiona's husband would inevitably reject the throne. You see, before Fiona was even born, there were plots forming around who she would marry. I mean, Harold even betrothed Fiona to Charming before he had even met his future wife.
This is Fiona's choice.
Yes, but she was supposed to choose the prince we picked out for her.
Harold made some dangerous deals with the fairy godmother to turn himself human, but Charming was far from the only suitor who went after Fiona. Unfortunately, most of the men interested in Fiona failed to reach her as she was trapped within the tallest room of the tallest tower that was protected by a ferocious dragon. But no one was able to save Fiona until Shrek came along. Now, according to Shrek the musical, Shrek was said to have descended from two unnamed ogre parents who were loyal to ogre tradition. When he turned the seasoned age of 7, he was forced to go off into the world on his own, and he succeeded at creating an isolated life for himself until he met Fiona. They fell in love, Fiona turned into an ogre permanently, and they had 3 ogre babies of their own, Fergus, Farkle, and Felicia. But the truth is, the triplets aren't in line for the throne. You see, after the death of King Harold, a new king needed to take his place, and of course that meant Fiona's husband was next in line, until he rejected the position, which introduced us to a whole new part of Lillian's family. Of course, I personally think Lillian should have been able to just rule the kingdom on her own as queen, or Fiona should have become queen of Far, Far Away. I mean, Fiona can be diplomatic with princesses and party with fairy tale creatures. She's able to be kind, intelligent, and ferocious when she needs to be, and it seems like she deserved an opportunity to lead her family's kingdom. To me, Fiona is perfect for the throne, but supposedly that's not the way things are done. Once Shrek refused to take the throne, that ensured that Fiona would never become queen. Instead, Fiona's cousin Arthur became king. You see, Lillian had a younger brother presumably named Uther Pendragon. In the line of succession, Uther would have become king next, but he must have died before the events of Shrek III, because it was his son Arthur who was identified as the next king of Far, Far Away. We also learned in Arthur's Worcestershire Academy yearbook that he had a cousin named Morgan Le Fay. Now, presumably, since Fiona and Morgan aren't cousins, this means that Morgan is related to Arthur on his mother's side of the family. But other than that, we don't really know that much about her, other than the fact that she was considered a spell spinner in high school, which makes sense since Morgan Le Fay is typically depicted in the legend of King Arthur as an enchantress. But what about Shrek's noble steed Donkey? I mean, he's got quite the family himself. Well, the truth is we don't really know anything about Donkey's parents or his grandparents, but we are aware of the existence of Donkey's great-grandfather, Donkey Sr. Who knows, though, about the rest of his family, or how they'd feel about Donkey falling in love with a fire-breathing dragon. You see, after Donkey met Dragon while rescuing Fiona from her tower, they fell in love quickly and had 6 children. Yes, when Dragon introduced Donkey to his babies at the end of Shrek 2, there were actually 6 donkeys, but when the events of Shrek III began, only 5 were ever seen again. Now, we only know the names of 3 of the donkeys. There's Coco, Bananas, and Peanut. Peanut's the little one with green eyes and a bit of a lazy eye. And while there's a lot of places online that state the rest of the Dronkies are named Debbie, Parfait, and Eclair, I couldn't verify any of that with any official sources. The Dronkies aren't listed in the credits by name, there's no bonus features or commentaries that name them, there's no character who refers to them by name. I mean, even in the novelizations of the movies, they don't go into specifics of who all the Dronkies are. Maybe there's some interviews with the directors or writers somewhere from one of the films that names the Dronkies, but I can't find it. Regardless, Shrek and Donkey became the best of friends after their first adventure, and in their second, they got a legendary addition to their friend group when they met Puss in Boots. Now, Puss was raised in an orphanage in the small town of San Ricardo by a woman named Imelda. She became a mother to Puss in every way other than blood. In fact, Imelda is even credited as Puss's inspiration to become a hero. In that same orphanage, Puss also met Humpty Dumpty, a walking, talking egg who became much more than a friend throughout their childhoods. They became brothers. Years later, on an adventure with his brother, Puss would also meet the love of his life, Kitty Softpaws, who was also a brave, rogue, vigilante, criminal thief, Robin Hood type like Puss. They quickly fell in love and were even engaged for some time, but they couldn't find a way to get past their own traumas to remain together. Of course, they've reunited since, and it seems like they're slowly making their way to their own happily ever after. So that's Shrek's family tree. And if you'd like to see more Shrek videos like this one, consider subscribing for more. Finally, I'm Isaac Carlson. Thanks for watching and have a magical day.